Salutations, I'm the fallen angel Christopher Daniels.
This is NXT superstar Dexter Loomis.
This is the former intellectual savior of the masses, now known as Aaron Stevens, your NWA third-degree national champion.
Hey, this is Big Sexy Kevin Nash.
Well, I don't know what that was about. Sorry about that, guys. What's up? Might have had some technical difficulties there in the intro. My bad. But anyway, we are here. Welcome to your September 21st, 2020 Monday Night Raw review. Looking at the chat here right off the bat, I see greatest Raw or worst Raw of all time and not a bad Monday Night Raw. So maybe there are more conflicting opinions on tonight's show than I was expecting to be. From what I could tell on social media tonight, from the time that I was on there, tonight was not getting good marks by many people, although I think there were some bright moments tonight. I really enjoyed the Randy Orton promo. That and a couple of other things I think maybe saved the show, if you can even use that word, saved. But I don't think I'm going to go as far as to say it's the worst Raw of 2020, because if you think about this year, there has been some pretty damn shitty Monday Night Raws, and I don't know if this one really qualifies as one of the shittiest. Maybe one of the shittiest, but definitely not the shittiest. So anyway, we'll talk about it as we go through here. There's a couple things on tonight's show that really didn't make a whole lot of sense. A lot of it involving Retribution, and they opened up the show tonight with just a reveal of who they were. But at the same time, even though we saw who they were, or at least the 5 core members, correct me if I'm wrong, on commentary, they almost made no mention of who they actually were. Like, that's Mia Yim, that's Dominik Dijakovic, that's Dio Madden. They didn't say any of that. And even during the announcements, and you guys got to help me here in the chat, during the introductions of the main event, it sounded like they had all new names, like Blade and weird shit like that. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. Pretty interesting situation, but at least we now know who some of them are, and honestly, we already knew these were the members. We knew about Mercedes Martinez. You could tell it was her. We knew about Mia Yim. You could definitely tell about Dominik and Dio Madden, and then the other little guy, I guess, was Shane Thorne, who I mistaked for The Miz last week, I think. So, you know, other than that, we kind of knew who they were, and there's still a lot more members because we saw dozens of them tonight, but at least in terms of that core group, they are now revealed, and I'm still guessing, at least what I would think WWE would do, is there's still going to be like a second reveal here. There's still going to be a leader, a mastermind, someone pulling the strings behind the scenes, a higher power, if you will, something like that. I think they'll take that one step further, especially if we hear about these plans of them heading into Survivor Series and doing some sort of Retribution versus the roster match, which honestly could be the end of Retribution. This might just be a short running angle to introduce a lot of these talents to the main roster, and then after Retribution gets defeated, much like the Alliance did back at Survivor Series 2001, a lot of the members stuck around and got jobs out of it. So, you know, if Retribution does not get better, and right now it just completely sucks, if it doesn't pick up steam and start turning the corner by the time we get to Survivor Series, I hope Survivor Series is the end of it, and then you piece off all of the members and they can start forming their own path on the main roster. That's kind of much in the same way as Raw Underground. It seems like it's designed to get a handful of guys over at once. Maybe Retribution is kind of being done the same way, except Raw Underground is far better than Retribution. But we have plenty to talk about in terms of that in tonight's episode. Let me just make sure all of the members. All right, I can be heard and everything. I apologize. There were a couple of mic issues on the Winged Eagle podcast on Saturday. I think it's my connections because I was having issues when I was setting up here as well. But I am microphone shopping. I'm going to do an upgrade. I'm not going to go balls to the wall and get some $1,000, professional podcast microphone, but I am going to get something nicer for my new studio, because this, incidentally, is the final Raw review from this place with this background behind me. I'm moving 1 week from today, so I am skipping next week's Raw. I might not even have the internet set up yet. I don't really know how that's going to go. So obviously I'm going to have to skip next week, but I'll be up here this weekend for the podcast on Saturday, and then of course Clash of Champions review Sunday night. But it'll be a much different looking set because on Wednesday all this gets taken down. A lot of it's already put in boxes, but the shelf goes, and I'm basically just going to be sitting here like behind a white wall, or with a white wall behind me. So I think for the overlays this weekend, I'll make a smaller video box so you don't have to just stare at the stark whiteness surrounding me. And I don't have a green screen or anything yet. Maybe that'll come down the road. But very excited for the new setup. I think it's going to be cool looking for the live streams and kind of a different looking set. So keep a lookout for that in the next couple of weeks. It's probably going to take me at least that long to get everything ready and the new layout, but I'm still going to be up here doing live streams as best I can, even though things are going to be under construction for the next couple of weeks. But anyway, this weekend should be fun because we have a pay-per-view, and it's I think a 9-match card, and it's shaping up pretty well. So at the end of the Raw review here, we will also preview Clash of Champions. We'll run through all the matches, maybe offer you my early predictions, even though I'll get into the full predictions this Saturday on the podcast. We'll at least talk about it, see what you guys think, that sort of shit. Before we get into the Raw results, let's just say hi to everybody in the chat, see if there's some supers in here that need to be busted out. Good to see you, Franklin and Tim and Madeline. How you doing? Studying for an exam. All right, good luck, girl. Ryan Navid, Real American, Jet the Hawk, How Wheezy, Monkey Wrench, Barry, you're here too. Arthur Jones and Andrew and Deshaun, thank you for the $5, George Morris. Hey, Greg, how are you? Good luck with the move. Hope everything goes good. Raw 0 out of 10. Very boring. A Cobra Kai video game is coming soon. Wish I played video games. All I want out of Cobra Kai is season fucking 3, man. Man, it's taking forever. That's all I want there. But yeah, you're chiming in with your token 0 out of 10 rating for the night, so I appreciate that as always. What's up, Antoine? Appreciate the 2. Greg, take the night off. Bro, seriously, what, tonight? Take the night off? Well, I'm already here. I can't now. It's my thing. I'm already going to be missing next week. You don't want me gone 2 weeks in a row, do you? Wouldn't that make you sad? If I was y'all, I'd be sad. Man. Austin Theory should be the leader of Retribution. I mean, at this point, we joked that, maybe they could bring back the hacker angle that seemingly was dropped. Then we speculated that maybe it wasn't. Maybe the hacker's kind of behind Retribution. I almost don't even want it to be that now because I don't even think that'll help. All that will do is make a mockery out of the hacker, which a lot of us, from the get-go liked. And then they just dropped it, and then they went with this instead. And it just goes to show, it's not the idea of the Retribution angle itself. Like that premise is not bad. We actually were mostly in favor of it. Like when they first showed up that first week, setting shit on fire on the outside of the building and kind of wreaking havoc like that. And they kind of made it known that they were out for Retribution, and they're likely, given what happened in April with the big releases, they could be a faction of just disgruntled people or released people coming back to take down WWE. That idea was great, but it's executed like shit. They came in, they were laughable. It looked more like a comedy act than anything that you should be taken seriously. The way they're coming in and cutting the ropes down with chainsaws, and they're all like little, like 5'5" little people running around there. I'm like, they're not scary, they're not intimidating, and the roster doesn't seem to be threatened by them at all. The Hurt Business doesn't give a fuck. They've been getting in their face every week, and you saw the whole locker room empty out tonight at the end of Raw and stuff. So, the Retribution stuff, I don't see how it can turn the corner here. Like, what could they do to make this not suck? So, yeah, as far as like the hacker or any really other cool idea that you could add into this, I don't even think it would save it at this point. But knowing WWE the way we do, I still think there's going to have to be like a leader. It appears like it's Dijakovic right now, but I think Dominic, whatever his name is now, he's almost playing the role of Evil Uno, and there will be an Exalted One type of figure in Retribution as well. That's what I'm guessing. And I'm sorry, I haven't seen the Batman movies and shit. Like, I saw the one in 89. That's the last Batman I saw. So I know that apparently Dominic's look is taken right from a villain in one of the Batman movies. I saw that all over social media, so that's interesting. They're all wearing masks and all that, so, we'll get into it. No reason to review this? Well, we have to, Antoine. We have to review. We've reviewed shittier Raws than this. We definitely have. I mean, this year alone, I've come up here and trashed several shows just because of how stupid, stinkingly boring they were. And tonight's Raw was a mess, but I still think it had a couple things that wasn't horrible. No drinking tonight. I'm all business. I got stuff to do later, so I'm just drinking some nice water, and I'm very thirsty. For some reason. Anyway, let's cruise into the results here. Raw, get this over with. I'm kidding. We'll talk little bit about each one of these matches and segments here, and then, like I said, we'll preview the Clash at the end, and then whatever's left, I'll stick around, depending on the audience in here and who's here. We'll do Q&A and shoot the shit and things like that at the end once we're done here. But Raw opens up with the glitchy intro. They're doing the little signature intro there, and it's all glitching out. So right off the bat, you're like, oh, Retribution's there fucking with stuff. They open up. Retribution is already, as soon as they cut to the arena, the Thunderdome, the Retribution is already on their way to the ring. They jump in the ring, and most of them have their masks off now, or their hoods. And a lot of them are wearing the face masks, and that's when you can clearly tell that it's Dio Madden. You can clearly tell that it's Mia Yim. You can clearly tell that it's Mercedes Martinez. The one that apparently is Shane Thorne left his Jason mask on or whatever, so he had his hockey mask on the whole time. And then I'm missing somebody else, right? Dominic, I said, Dio, Mia, and Mercedes, and then him. So I guess that's the 5 core members there. They cut a promo a little bit. They did some talking. Like I said, Dominic Dijakovic appears to be the evil Uno of the group here. He almost has he's like half evil Uno and like half Lance Archer. He had like the red stuff going on under his mask and everything, and he's big and menacing and an ass kicker and stuff. So he can cut a good promo, I guess, but I still think for this to even be somewhat interesting, there still has to be one main leader of this that's really pulling the strings here, I would think. But you kind of got to look at him there. And what was weird is like I said, the announcers, unless I misheard, because whenever I watch Raw, I don't listen. I just tune it out most of the time. So I don't know what the announcers said about these members, but it sounded like they all have new names and shit. Is that right? And that's just so strange to me, because we all know who Mia Yim is. It's not like we forgot her in NXT. Oh, and by the way, Retribution all has earned themselves contracts. That makes sense. They now all have contracts, and the announcers kept saying they can do whatever they want. When they're backstage beating the shit out of people and attacking them, they're allowed to do that. Even when you do have a contract, when in kayfabe are you really allowed to do that? When somebody gets attacked backstage, the officials run in and back him off, and there's an authority figure. He might find the guy or whatever. You're not even allowed to do that when you are under contract. So they're basically saying Retribution has got, I guess, it's written into their contract that they can assault anybody they want, which is just a foolish thing to put in the contract and makes no sense unless there is some greater power inside of Retribution that has some dirt on a Vince or a Triple H and has blackmailed them into signing off on any type of contract they want. And that could still be a story later to be told later down the line. But otherwise, it makes no sense that they have contracts, especially when they all already have contracts. They're not even the released people. Dijakovic and Mia Yim, they're all working in NXT. And I don't know about you guys who are in relationships, but I'd be pretty sad. It would hurt my feelings if my girlfriend and 20 of her friends put on black hoods and attacked me, just like Mia Yim and all of her friends attacked Keith Lee last week. It hurt my feelings. Might even have to break up with her if I was assaulted with a tire iron. So that's just odd to me. There's so many pieces here that don't make sense, unless Keith Lee is a mole. Because if you remember, he came in from NXT 2 right ahead of Retribution. Or actually, no, they'd already made their presence known. Keith Lee got there. So maybe Lee somehow is affiliated with them or something as a way to make that make sense. But it's not like they are ignoring that they're a couple. They've wrestled in mixed tags, and they've alluded to that in NXT before, especially with the Karrion Kross stuff. So it's not like we don't know who they are. It's not like the fans don't know them. So to change all of their names now, that can't be right. That can't be right. So anyway, if you guys heard what the hell the 3 announcers, by the way, who tonight were Tom Phillips, Jerry Lawler is back, and Saxy Saxerton. So they were the trio tonight. Don't know where Samoa Joe is. I don't know if he had a positive COVID test or what. He hasn't been there for a couple of weeks, and Lawler, nobody gives a shit about. I'm sick of him. So that was our trio tonight, and they were the ones calling the action there. I don't know. By the way, there was a report released today by Fightful Select that I saw about a bunch of positive COVID tests in NXT that have and did affect their taping schedule. They had to make some changes to some of their most recent TVs due to these COVID tests, so they've got hit with another batch, so we'll see how they handle that. I haven't heard any names, but apparently it was several and many, I guess is what the report said, so that sucks. But anyway, we would see more of Retribution in just a little bit, and we'll talk about them because they had a couple of more backstage segments, and then they were involved in the main event as well. Oh, you think Joe and Phillips have COVID? Well, who the hell was the announcers? I thought Tom Phillips was the announcer tonight. Who was it? Am I really that bad? I tune these people out? I would have sworn it was Tom Phillips. Oh, and by the way, nice call about Dio Madden. That's another thing. I just talked about the Mia Yim and Keith Lee connection, but like the Raw announcers are acting like they don't know who any of these people are. Dude, that dude did commentary with you guys. You know, he was on the Raw announce team. Well, I guess he was with Vic Joseph. But still, he was there. Well, Lawler at least knows him, so you should at least say, like, oh, that's Dio Madden or something. And the whole thing was weird. Thank you for that, Atomic Cody. Going to drop a like and listen to you because I need something to keep my mind off tonight's atrocious Raw. Well, I don't know if watching a Raw review is good is a good way to keep your mind off of it, but I appreciate you being here, dude. And thank you for the kind thoughts. Yeah, thanks, Antoine. Keep doing that for me. Appreciate it. We'll see how many people. It was pretty low audience for the podcast on Saturday, too, so we'll see if people give a shit enough about tonight's Raw to tune in and watch some reviews. Okay, thanks for that. I thought I was crazy, Madeline. I was like, well, did I not hear Tom Phillips' voice? Because I would not put that past me to watch an entire 3-hour Raw thinking that Tom Phillips is on commentary and then finding out it was Michael Cole. Like, I wouldn't put that past me at all. I'm very capable of making that mistake. Very capable. They have like 4 Todd Phillips. They do. Anyway, where did we leave off? Okay, so Retribution comes out there. They do their thing. They reveal themselves. They cut a promo, and that's that. First match of the night, triple threat tag match. Winner gets a shot at the Street Profits at Clash of Champions. Teams are Andrade and Garza versus Rollins and Buddy Murphy versus Dominic and Humberto Carrillo. Very interesting team there. Now, I can't keep track of Andrade and Garza. Jesus, man. You know, so I thought last week, because I think they announced this match a week ago, we talked about this either on Saturday or last week. So we knew about this. And I was saying that it seems like Rollins and Murphy and Andrade and Garza have got a shit ton of dissension in their teams. And I know Dominic and Humberto really haven't teamed together, and they don't know each other that well, but they're in a perfect position to get some random title shot here and could maybe perform pretty well against the Street Profits, win or lose. At Clash of Champions, it might be a fun match. But no, they went with Andrade and Garza, which is a great team. I would love to see them even win the belts. The problem is, 1 week they're fighting, next week they made up, 1 week they're fighting. I mean, I don't need to see this drug out like Sasha and Bailey. Like, I don't give a shit if they split up or stay together at all. So to keep, like, confusing me here, I just cannot figure out. This seems like when they win, they're happy, all is right with the world. But then when they take a loss, they start fighting with each other. And I thought the official implosion had happened. They had like a brawl backstage, didn't they, a couple of weeks ago? And I know every time they get mad at each other, Zelena steps in and smooths it over. But at some point, you got to just cut your losses. And here they are still together and winning this match, which means they will now get a title shot at the Clash of Champions, taking on the Street Profits. And I honestly don't even want to see them win the titles because it's just going to be the same story. Then we have to just drag it out more. Then when they lose the titles, or maybe close to the end of their title run, we'll start having more dissension. We'll have to go through this shit all over again. So I was kind of surprised they won there because I thought that team was running its course. Seems like WWE was going through the trouble of booking them in a split angle, only to have them keep winning and basically like just putting it on pause. Oh, we'll go back to that when we feel like it. They're going to be friends this week. That's Raw for you. After that, we had, oh, by the way, they won. I told you that, right? They faced, or they beat the other two teams. Rollins actually walked off and basically stranded Murphy, I believe, and allowed Garza and Andrade to pick up the win. Dominic looked good, again, as usual. I don't really even hate his theme music. I liked how they incorporated the 619 in there, and it sounds a little different. Like, they're investing in Dominic, and I think that's cool. And it would not be the last time we would see Dominic because we almost found out that he really is Eddie's son. We'll get to that in a minute. That was an angle that I did not see coming. And so far, I think it's kind of stupid. But then again, Ray's already lost an eyeball. Can't get any dumber than that. So we'll talk about the Mysterios more in just a second. After that, we get a Kevin Owens show segment. His guest is Shane McMahon. Shane is above ground. Holy shit. Shane joins the rest of us at sea level here on Raw, above ground, and gets in the ring with Owens. They have a long history. Even Owens questioned why he was giving Shane this opportunity, but he's like, hell, it's 2020. Things are weird as it is, so I'll be happy to bring my former arch nemesis out here. And he's there pretty much just to promote the Raw Underground match later on with Dabba-Kato taking on Braun Strowman. And Shane actually brings out Dabba-Kato because he and Owens had a brief run-in a couple of weeks ago. on Raw Underground, and Kevin Owens like, yeah, I've met him. We've met. And then Shane brings him out. This motherfucker is huge. I mean, we've seen him in the Raw Underground, but standing next to Kevin Owens, it's like, Jesus, that dude is a beast. Owens shows no fear whatsoever, actually slaps him right in the face, Stephanie McMahon style. And I'm not sure about that sometimes. I mean, I know it's Owens and he can get a pass, but imagine if this was anybody else other than him. Imagine if this was Triple H. I know Stephanie wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, but if it was Triple H slapping him, wouldn't we all be like shitting our pants? Oh my God, this guy's a monster, and you're going to bring him out on his first TV Raw segment and slap him in the face? Wouldn't we be bitching about that? You know, so Kevin Owens doing it. I like the fact that he's fearless, even up to a guy twice his size. You know, but do you really want to bitch slap somebody on their first night? Can you give it a month and then slap him? I don't know. It reminds me of, you guys have to help me again. Didn't something similar happen with Curtis Axel? Or did he do the slapping? I think maybe he slapped Triple H and Triple H went down. But it wasn't long. It took like 2 weeks to completely bury Curtis Axel and, you know, his legacy of being the son of Mr. Perfect and stuff. So, you know, sometimes they do that, and I don't know if that really helped him or not, but he was about to kill Owens after that until Owens announces that he's also invited Braun Strowman to come out. Strowman comes out there. Shane backs off Dabba-Kato. No, wait for later, a Raw Underground or whatever, and they're setting up that big match for later. So that's all that happened there, and I'm sure, you know, Owens might show back up in Raw Underground again because he is a prize fighter, remember? Next up, we had another match. 2 weeks in a row now, they're going with this Drew McIntyre versus Keith Lee. They tried to do this last week. They had the stipulation. It's like a double-sided stip, which we knew neither one was really going to come true. And if Keith Lee was able to beat the champion, then he would earn the shot at Clash of Champions, but only if Randy Orton isn't cleared to return to the ring. But we knew Randy Orton would be cleared because they've set up the ambulance match. Drew and Orton have attacked each other on Raw and sent each other to the hospital. Everything's building towards this. This is the match you do. You don't just monkey wrench it and change it at the last minute with Keith Lee, which will then be, you know, imagine if he would have beat McIntyre here and then Orton wasn't cleared. That means we'd get 3 matches in a row in consecutive weeks with Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre. And I thought after last week's non-finish, because that's when Retribution showed up, I'm like, you know, if they're doing this match again, I don't really want to see these guys get beat, especially McIntyre, because I don't even like it when champions lose in like little shady scenarios and lose in non-title matches and shit like that. I don't want to see that with Drew because he hasn't shown weakness since beating Brock. Nobody's beat him. Nobody's pinned him. I want that to continue. Title match or not, tag match or not. I do not want to see that happen to McIntyre. You know, but at the same time, are you really beating Keith Lee right now? Either. But I thought they had to grow a set of balls and decide and choose what to do. You know what? You guys are the one that booked yourselves in this match, so you figure out the right thing to do and give us a winner. I was ready for a winner. I was okay with it. I was fine with Keith Lee eating a Claymore and getting pinned. No problem. You know why? Because Keith Lee came in from NXT, and what has he done since he's gotten there? He's done a lot of the same shit, but he's involved in the world title picture. He's at the top of the card with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. You can't really ask for more with Keith Lee. You know, instead of doing with him like they did with Aleister Black, and he just comes in and wins some random squash matches and has mid-card feuds, you know, maybe goes on a winning streak but doesn't have anything significant to do. Keith Lee here is right in the thick of the title hunt, and I think because of that, he could have taken a loss to the champion, would have been fine. But they didn't want to do that. Keith Lee actually, I think winds up losing because Orton ran in. So we didn't get Retribution running in. We had Randy Orton instead. He shows up, returns to TV. He's got a chair, nails Drew McIntyre. Referee calls for the bell. So I'm assuming Drew wins there via DQ and attacks McIntyre. He spills out to the outside of the ring. Keith Lee is still trying to get up from the match. Orton sees Lee there in prone position and nails him with a punt kick right to the head. And does a number on McIntyre. I think they go to a commercial. We come back, and then Orton cuts a hell of a promo. Hell of a promo. I liked it. Walked outside the ring because they had the ambulance parked out there for the ambulance match. Talks about the fans, shame on us for not believing that he'd be cleared. I believed he was going to be cleared. We all knew that was the match that they were going to do. And he says the fans should never doubt him. Walks out to the ring, walks to the ambulance, says that this ambulance represents my 14th title win. And, you know, cuts kind of a long-winded but a good promo, very reminiscent of the promos he was cutting with Edge a few months back during WrestleMania. So that I liked. I liked everything about that from Randy Orton. So that's not one part of the show I'm complaining about. I thought Orton did a really good job of setting all that up. And, you know, if you do want to do a deal where you trade a title with McIntyre or something, you could technically have McIntyre lose here without having that pin or submission type of thing. So if you wanted to have Orton win on a fluke, he could. And don't forget what happened at the main event, which we'll talk about later. When Retribution comes to the ring, there's the big brawl. We heard Drew McIntyre's music hit, and he led, you know, a locker room full of wrestlers down to the ring to fight them off. They could get some retribution on him for that at the pay-per-view and just show up in the match. It's an ambulance match. It's legal. So Retribution could just show up there, attack Drew, throw him in the ambulance, shut the door. Not necessarily meaning Randy Orton's a part of Retribution. They just went out there to help him out randomly. Hey, we decided we're going to fuck over Drew McIntyre, and they could do that. Drew loses the title, but it's not like he actually lost a match or weakens him in any way. And then Randy Orton's got that 14th run and maybe drops it back to him at the Hell in the Cell. Only the Cell can keep Retribution out of the ring. Can't you see it right now? I can just see him totally going that direction. You know, after what happened in the ambulance match, Drew will come out pissed off. You know, he'll want a piece of Retribution, and now they're causing me to lose my title and all this stuff, and I challenge you to Hell in the Cell, and then we get Drew and Orton Hell in the Cell, which has enough bad blood and heat to warrant a match like that, and then you could put Sasha and Bayley in there as well, and those are the only two Hell in the Cell matches I need, to be honest with you. So that might be what they do, which means we get a third match out of McIntyre and Orton, or McIntyre just beats Orton, and that's the end of that. But I think there is an opportunity here to take the belt off of Drew just briefly, you know, have him win it back at the Cell. But I don't know. You guys tell me, is that worth doing? No, why why even bother if you're just going to have it on for a month or whatever? But, you know, if they want to stretch out this program with McIntyre and Orton, especially in a match, you know, ambulance match, I don't know if it really feels like a blow off to me. It always feels like it's got to be a little more definitive than that. So I feel like one more could be on the horizon. Hell in the Cell would be a good spot for that. Hell yeah, Orton's 2020 has been solid. He's been great this year, man. I mean, think about how long. When did he come in? 2002. He's been there nearly 20 years. By 2003, his first year in, he's virtually at the top. He's Intercontinental Champion. He's in Evolution. He's next to Triple H and Ric Flair. Year after that, he's champion. And all this time, he's remained on top. Couple of hiccups there with some wellness policy violations, and they had him jobbing a little bit there, and he wasn't around the title picture for a couple of little short stints. But for the most part, he has been a top guy in the company for nearly 20 years, on top. That's nothing to shake a stick at, you know? Oh, I didn't realize he botched the promo. He got confused how many times Drew Claymore'd him. Well, he was hurt. He got sent to the hospital. He was knocked loopy. Sometimes it affects your memory. I'll give Orton a pass on that. Yeah, Orton has a case for Wrestler of the Year. He does. But then again, so does Drew. Yeah, Kobe, Sasha and Bayley absolutely has to be in the Hell in the Cell. Like, you know how fucking pissed I'll be if they're not in the Hell in the Cell. They absolutely have to be, especially after everything that's gone on between them and the attacks and the betrayal and this year-long friendship. You cannot settle this anywhere else but inside that disgustingly ugly red cage. That's where it's got to be done. And the last time there was a women's Hell in the Cell match with last one that Sasha was in, Sasha and Charlotte, was a really good match. And I think Sasha and Bayley can be even better. And I'm ready for that, man. I'm ready. So can you imagine if they do Sasha and Bayley at the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view, but not in the Cell? I'm going to lose my mind. They better not. That match is already booked in my head. Hell in the Cell, Sasha versus Bayley. If they don't do it, they're stupid. They better. Hey, hello, Nick Musser. Good to see you. It's been a while. I've missed you too, man. Appreciate the $1.99 and for stopping by. By the way, Domination Warrior as well. Thank you for the $5. Which would make for an interesting Raw Underground match? Bruiser Brody versus Haku, or Andre versus Bruno. Just glad Retribution didn't use Tony Fox's tire iron. Yeah. Brody and Haku, I'd pay for that one, man. Andre and Bruno, I don't know. That would be odd. Bruno's going to be going for them legs. I know that. But Brody and Haku just beat the piss out of each other for 5 straight minutes until somebody just dies. Like they won't. Somebody would have to die. It's hard not to pick Haku in anything, though. I've never, still to this day, I haven't heard many people ever say that another wrestler could beat Haku in a fight. Damn, Deshaun. I forgot about that. Sasha and Becky was last year? I guess I kind of forgot. I guess that was good. So do you guys think that was better than Sasha and Charlotte? I believe you because I don't remember. Oh, man, you got to get up at 5 a.m., Nick Musser. All right, man, appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. And thanks to everybody that's here hanging out right now. What was next on Raw? Oh, yeah, we had a women's match up next. Zelena, Vega taking on Mickie James. The winner of this gets a title shot against Asuka. So that's random as hell. This kind of came out of nowhere because last week I think they did something. Zelena came out to the ring and kind of challenged Asuka. It's kind of a mess there. Mickie James wants a shot, but there doesn't seem to be any sort of formula for picking a number one contender. Asuka's just accepting challenges from anyone. And you got to wonder, like, how come somebody like Bianca Belair isn't sticking her nose in here and saying, hey, I want a title shot too? We would get a video package from her later, but, you know, this Zelena stuff, like Zelena, I like Zelena and everything, but she, to me, does not seem like somebody that could last 4.5 seconds against Asuka in the ring. So, and it feels like that was the direction they're going here anyway. The finish of this match did not surprise me because Zelena confronted Asuka last week, and now she's got this match with Mickie. Mickie's already gotten a couple shots against Asuka, so a fresh opponent here is likely. And Zelena beat Mickie James completely clean to earn the title shot at the Clash of Champions. So we're getting Zelena and Asuka. I do not expect Zelena to walk out of that match as champion. If she does, I'm going to go move and live in the forest for 6 months. So mark my words. But after that, which was ironic that we mentioned Bianca Belair, there was a little vignette or package of Bianca Belair working out in the gym, and she's next to this guy, and she's outperforming him in everything. You know, more pull-ups than him and more push-ups, and he can't flip a tire, but she can. Totally not edited at all. Completely legit video. No editing whatsoever. Bianca is an absolute beast. So that was funny, but I'm almost wondering where she was and why she doesn't want to get her get in the title picture here. Why WWE doesn't want her to. Like, what are they doing? Jesus, this company. After that, what was going on at the beach? I was writing my notes. I was doing other things, and I'm watching. But from what I could tell, R-Truth is at the beach. He's got his baby, but then he loses the belt. Little Jimmy is also with him. There's a shark swimming in the water, and he's got to rescue the title and Little Jimmy. I thought Little Jimmy was eaten by a shark, but turns out Little Jimmy survived. And in the end, R-Truth got his belt back, and he had Little Jimmy in one hand and the belt in the other, and he was happy. And if R-Truth is happy, then I'm happy. But I couldn't understand what the hell was going on there. And did they really drive all the way from Orlando to the fucking beach, which is probably a couple-hour drive at least, regardless of what coast you're going to? You Florida people tell me how accurate I am about that. Drove all the way down there just to film that dumb shit and come back? What a waste of a day, man. Probably took forever. So anyway, that happened, but like I said, R-Truth in the end left happy, and that's all that matters to me. We had Apollo taking on Cedric Alexander. This is Apollo's 443rd match in a row against a member of the Hurt Business. 443, y'all. Dating all the way back to 2007. Jesus, how many times do we have to see this shit? So at least it's Cedric this time because he recently turned, and Apollo does have an axe to grind with Cedric. But my God, can we move on from the Apollo and Ricochet and Hurt Business for the love of God? Oh my God. It reminds me of Tommy Boy, Chris Farley, when David Spade's knocking on the door, housekeeping, and he just screams, let me sleep for the love of God. Like, that's the way I feel about this shit. Like, every time they do the same matches over and over, it's redundant as hell. It's just all we see. So anyway, Apollo versus a Hurt Business guy again. Apollo winds up winning. Kind of rolled up Cedric after Cedric was on the outside, kind of having a stare down with Ricochet. They still have some unfinished business as well, which means we're going to get at least another week or 2 or 3 or 4 or 17 of Ricochet and Apollo taking on Hurt Business guys. But because of that little delay on the outside of the ring with Cedric looking at Ricochet and saying, all right, you're next or whatever. No physicality, just a little delay. Cedric gets in the ring. He's so distracted by that, he gets rolled up and pinned. And Apollo got the victory. The Hurt Business immediately come out and attack both guys and lay waste to Ricochet and Apollo and all of that. So the Hurt Business are busy. Every Monday night, they're getting in the face of Retribution. They're getting in the face of people on Raw Underground, and they do not like Ricochet or Apollo, that's for sure. So we then go to Raw Underground. Now it's the top of the second hour, I think, and we've got Dolph Ziggler taking on a guy, and I forget his name, but he had some pretty good moves. He almost had he had some karate kicks and shit, and he looked like a really legit fighter there, almost somewhat reminiscent maybe of a Timothy Thatcher or something. Forgot his name, but Dolph wound up beating him. Then we get the big segment, the big weird one on Raw that involved Seth Rollins and the Mysterio family. But before we start taking a bite out of that juicy nugget, let me cruise over here and knock out the super chat from How Wheezy. Thanks, dude, for the $5. Bianca defeats Zelena 3 times and Zelena gets a title shot. Exactly. Bianca already whooped her ass a bunch of times for poisoning her boyfriend. So why are they and it almost looks like it makes Bianca look dumb, because if you're back there and all the talent is back there, what is Bianca doing when Zelena and Mickie are battling for a title shot or approaching Asuka backstage? What's Bianca doing? Playing video games? Streaming with Xavier Woods? In catering? Eating a hot dish with Otis? What's she doing? Why doesn't she want to be a part of this? Thank you, Arturo Ruas. Thank you, Sonny Man. Didn't catch his name. So that's the only weird thing there is if you're a wrestler, you aspire to be a champion. You want to succeed. And if you've got a champion that's just offering up title shots to people, aren't you going to want to jump in there and be like, oh, I'll take one? So obviously WWE doesn't want her doing that because they don't know what they want to do with her yet, or maybe they don't want to beat her, which I could also understand. Because if Bianca just comes in and automatically just gets a title shot right now against Asuka, she's not going to win. You should probably do it differently. So if they have title aspirations for Bianca, and that's going to start here shortly, then fine. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why, of all the women, even, Nia and Shayna, even though they're tag champs, they should be wanting a piece of this action as well. You're going with Zelena? Now, like I said, I like Zelena, but I almost want that match to be a squash. I don't want Zelena to take Asuka to the limit at all. I want Asuka to choke her fucking ass out quickly. 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 37 seconds. That's how long I want the match to be. Zelena taps out, Asuka retains, and just works with someone else after that. But anyway, let's talk Mysterios. I agree. Bianca Belair is a future star. She better be. The only thing that'll stop Bianca Belair is WWE's dumbass booking. That's the only thing that's going to really could hinder the push and the future of Belair is just WWE not knowing what to do with a wonderful piece of talent. Because not only is she extremely athletic and she's good in the ring and really improved the last year or two in the ring, she's good on the mic too. I like her. I like everything about her. Yeah, Kobe, we're going to get into that. I think they will. We'll talk about the Clash card here later with the tag champs. So after the Raw Underground stuff, we've got Seth Rollins coming out to the ring. He's got a big yellow manila envelope with him. And we already saw him lose in the triple threat tag earlier on. So you're like, what the hell is this? And he comes out to the ring and he starts talking about the Mysterio family. And as soon as he said, I was looking at a picture of them and something just didn't add up. As soon as he said that, I'm like, oh my God, do not tell me that he's going to reveal that Dominic is really Eddie Guerrero's son. Because as soon as he started talking about that, and he's like, hey, put up a photo on the Tron. See the Mysterio family there? You see Aaliyah and Angie and Ray. And then you got this big monster, Dominic. Well, I did some digging, and I had some people look into some things for me. And I have here a DNA test that says, and it's conclusive, that Ray, you are not the father of Dominic. So that's what he reveals. So I'm like, holy shit, are they really going to bring the Eddie Guerrero stuff back in here? And then Ray kind of gets on the mic and he's like, we've already done this before. We've already gone down this road, because a rehash of an angle from 15 years ago is starting to question, haven't they done enough to this family? I mean, they put Ray through that ridiculous angle. How that guy had to film a fish bobber coming out of his eyeball and then actually after that signed on the dotted line to do 3 more years of that shit, I will never know. He must really love his son to go through 3 more years of this fucking nonsense. So now they're going to do some sort of a paternity issue with Ray's kids. And then Ray, basically just by talking to Seth, even though Seth claims in the document that he's got proof, Ray basically says it's not true. We've been down this road before, referring to the Eddie Guerrero stuff, and get over it or whatever. And then Seth almost like agrees. And then he's like, well, maybe this DNA isn't about Dominic. Maybe it's about your daughter. And so then he shifts it to now Aaliyah. And we've been wondering since we've been seeing her on TV, is this her introduction into maybe getting in the ring? Is she training too? Because they're making some sort of storyline out of her here. And then Seth goes on to say, hey, I've got some interesting concrete evidence to show that something's amiss there, because after everything that I've done to your family, knocking your eyeballs out and caning your son in front of you and all that shit, look at what your daughter did last week or whatever. And they show the footage of her checking on Buddy Murphy when he was injured on the stairs, and she just kind of looks concerned about him. And so Seth uses that as reason to believe that Ray is not her father because of that. Who's her father? Buddy Murphy? Who's 31 years old? How old's Aaliyah? 19? He's getting busy at 12? Lucky kid. But still, that's crazy. Maybe they're brother and sister. Maybe they're long lost, separated at birth brothers and sisters. But what is this going to lead? What are they going to do here? I don't see how this can be anything but crap. If they're now going to, poor Ray, he can't bring his kids. Because you got to wonder, every week they're on TV, all of them. And I'm like, did Ray write that into his contract that you're signing my whole damn family and we're going to appear together as a faction every week on Raw? I don't know. I thought that was weird. They've been on TV so much, and I thought they were only there during the Monday Night Messiah stuff. And then I thought that was kind of over, but here we go again. Now it's taking a whole nother turn, a whole nother chapter, and the Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio stuff does not appear to be over. So Ray then sees this evidence footage that Rollins released and says, you know, you talk to me, because Seth's questioning Aaliyah. You know, he's saying, you know, what was going on there when you were, you know, concerned about Buddy after everything Buddy's done to your brother and your father? You know, how could you check on him like that? Maybe you're not really a Mysterio. And Ray is like, you know, you don't talk to her, you talk to me. And then Aaliyah kind of just like gets pissed and walks away, and she like walks off. And they're all kind of looking at her like, oh, that's kind of weird or whatever. So now this is a whole new thing. Later on, they actually show her back sitting on one of the crates, and she's approached by Buddy Murphy. This is all very creepy. He sits down and tells her that he's very sorry, and, you know, and all of that and whatever. So she kind of looks at him, and she doesn't seem to be turned off by him or anything like that. So there's some sort of a relationship there between the two. Unless it's romantic, but I don't think so. I would almost think since the paternity of Aaliyah is in question here, this has to do with like a sibling type of thing. I don't know, unless Buddy Murphy is really her dad, which that's going to be tough to explain. Because everybody can Google birthdays and kind of do the math there. So I don't think that would make sense. At least it better not, because that's just gnarly. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, what are they doing? What are they going to do? Dude. Easy. Oh, good to see you in here, Gold Standard. What's up, man? SmackDown was awesome in 2005. Yeah, I've even talked about that time period recently, too. Like, I feel like the way I was as a fan, you know, who I lived through the 80s and the Attitude Era, and I went to so many shows, and I was right there in the middle of Austin and The Rock and Triple H and Mankind and all their runs, you know, during that late 90s, early 2000s period. By the time we got to 04 and 05 and even 06, maybe you can even include 03 in there a little bit, I was kind of already, like, the magic was already wearing off. And I remember thinking that those years, as I was living through them, were not as good as the years that I already experienced with wrestling. But now, as we fast forward another 15 years past that, I'm starting to have a whole new appreciation for that time period, more of the ruthless aggression stuff. I remember talking about WrestleMania 21 recently. I was like, you know, I didn't give that WrestleMania enough credit. Like, that's a pretty good one. Because I always was just so turned off by that time period for a little while there. But now, given what we have here, that looks like the glory days back in 2005, man. There was some good stuff going down. SmackDown was a good show. Yeah, I'm not drinking a beer tonight. Just all been. First of all, I don't have any. Plus, my house is starting to get more and more empty as I'm preparing for the move. And I got stuff to do later. I got dinner to cook. I got more work around the house to do. I got to do some podcast prepping for this weekend. And I'm working on a TNA Impact review, or not Impact review, TNA review on an upcoming show coming in October, courtesy of Barry. So I got stuff like that to get into. And I didn't want to drink. So what is this? Crystal Geyser. It is. Cheers. Oh, 2007, your favorite years of WWE. Yeah, I need to start looking back at that time period a little more fondly. After the Seth Rollins stuff and wherever the hell that situation is going to lead to with the family, what makes me worried about that is now it's going to lead to another series of matches that might even climax in another Hell in the Cell, which I don't think we need to have that because I want to see the Cell definitely for Sasha and Bayley. And if Orton and McIntyre continue their deal, they should be in there. But if Orton and McIntyre close their deal, and after Clash on Sunday, that issue is done, and McIntyre wins and moves on, then maybe you can do a Ray and Rollins Hell in the Cell match, and then what the fuck? The winner gets custody of Aaliyah or something? I don't know. Like, what is the payoff? What's the point? So far on the surface, it looks really dumb. So WWE, Bruce Pritchard, what the F? What are y'all doing? Yeah, Barry, I did see that. I believe I did. You sent me that on the twatter, right? Oh yeah, I did see that. Yep. I still got to watch the whole pay-per-view and make my notes. I'm going to try to record it this week and then edit it in the new place. Very excited. I'm not moving far. It's just a local move, but it's kind of an end of an era in this place because I've been here now for 3 years, and this is where I started doing live streams. I wasn't even on camera prior to this, so this is kind of where I cut my live streaming teeth. It's going to be sad to see the place go, but I'm going to have a sweet setup in the new place. It's ridiculous. I don't even feel like I deserve it. So wait until that happens. It should be a much more fun background, and there's going to be some cosmetic changes to the channel, and I am super excited about it. I need sometimes you need that refresher, that reboost, and to try to get remotivated again. So expect big things in us to close out 2020 pretty strong on the channel. I'm absolutely determined to make it a good year next year. But anyway, back to Raw after the Rollins nonsense with the Mysterios. We had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on Lana and Natalya again. Riot Squad are on commentary for this. Doesn't take Nia and Shayna long, obviously, to dispose of these two. And I missed the pin. Who got the pin? Was it Lana? After the match, after Nia and Shayna won, they took Lana and put her through a table again. They did that last week to the point where I even speculated on the review last week that maybe Lana is leaving, and maybe they wrote her off with an injury angle here, put her out of injured her to where she can't come back. She sits out the rest of her contract and then leaves and goes and joins her husband like that somewhere in AEW. But I have no idea the contract status of Lana. WWE is spiteful, and they'll probably keep her around and hold her hostage just to complicate the lives of her and Miro, which speaks volumes to the just level of douchebaggery that exists in that company. Or they could just be fucking with Miro by trolling him and burying his wife every week on TV. They're spiteful and they're petty, and it's one of WWE's biggest turnoffs. And I'm no Lana fan. She's annoying as shit. I don't care if she's ever on TV or ever in the ring. I'm not a fan of her. But what I'm also not a fan of is people getting unjustly taken advantage of or taken advantage of for spite, because even though I'm not a big Lana fan, I'm sure she's worked very hard in her life. And I'd hate to think that, you can work so hard to get somewhere and then you have to worry about it all being damaged just because management is upset with your husband. It's just disgusting, type of thing. So I don't know what the deal is there. She went through a table again here. I don't know if that's going to be a weekly occurrence and she's going to go through a table every week or what's going on there. But I honestly had not high hopes, but I was okay with the Lana and Natalya pairing because, number one, I don't give a shit about either one of them individually as singles. So if you put them together, you color coordinate their outfit, you already broke up one super annoying tag team in the Iconics. You need to fill that void. And if there's one good word to describe those two, it's annoying with the tick-tocking and all of that. But I thought it could work, especially if they color coordinate their outfits, get some music. And, they're not going to be the Hart Foundation or anything, but they could be a team who could get some sort of a fluke tag team title run, and it would give them both something to do. Meaningful instead of just being floundering in singles or whatever. But it now looks like they're not even going to let that tag team get off the ground and allow it to grow, because they got the jobber entrance tonight, when such a big part of their gimmick has been social media and Instagram likes and TikToks and all that. They didn't even get to have an entrance or talk any smack like that. They just went right to the jobber entrance, got beat, got squashed. Lana went through a table. Whatever. I'm not always talking bad about it. I'm one of the more positive YouTubers. What are you talking about? I talk bad about bad shit, and I talk good about good shit. So yeah, no, I'm not one of them. Trust me, if you want irrational anger, there's plenty of other places you can go for that. You ain't gonna find that here. You're just gonna find honesty. And I think what they're doing to Lana sucks. And you ain't changing my mind. Next up, we had Raw Underground. Riddick Moss and Eric of the Viking Raiders were in there, mixing it up. Riddick Moss beat him. Back to the arena now, and we've got Asuka taking on Peyton Royce. This was set up backstage earlier on. And another weird situation there where Peyton Royce and Billie Kay have split up. Peyton even turned on her in the Raw Underground by throwing her in the ring. And now it's like that never happened. They even had the match like last week, right? And then Peyton beat her, but then they hugged, and they're still kind of friends. And now they're backstage together again. And then Peyton has her match with Asuka, and Billie Kay is in her corner. So are the Iconics broken up or not? And why is Billie Kay not upset with Peyton Royce for feeding her the wolves in the Underground thing when she turned on her like that? So that whole situation doesn't make any sense either. So Peyton basically says she wants a match with Asuka. Asuka's like, yeah, no problem. I'll get your ass out there. I'll take you on right now. And went out there and did not beat Peyton Royce because Zelena jumped in and attacked. Well, she beat her via DQ. Referee calls for the bell. And so I guess because of Peyton's upcoming push, they don't want to pin her either. How many non-finishes can one show have? My God. So Asuka and Zelena just setting up more heat for their match. I think that Asuka and Zelena could even potentially take place on the kickoff. It might, because there's like 9 matches announced, but there's no way Asuka's losing to Zelena. So that was all that happened there. We go back to Raw Underground now. Now's the big match. I was actually kind of looking forward to this because, you know, Dabba-Kato is huge and Strowman is Strowman. So to see him in there mixing them up, especially since they held it off and made us wait a week to get it, it wasn't that great. Went a couple of minutes, just punches and kicks and all that stuff. Strowman did beat him, which was, again, I guess not surprising. But I'm glad that they actually kind of had a finish in that thing instead of a bunch of people not running in and fucking it up, or the Hurt Business showing up or whatever. So Dabba-Kato was beaten by Strowman. I guess he'll go back to SmackDown now, or maybe he'll hang around at Raw Underground for a little while longer and kick some more ass in there. It seems like this is a treading water type of deal for Strowman to do right now, since, you know, the world title situation on SmackDown is strange right now because you got Roman taking on Uso, but then after Uso, you got to assume that Roman's going to have to face off with Wyatt. So they might want Strowman just kind of on the back burner for now, and Raw Underground might be that back burner, just to give him something meaningful to do, but keeping him away from, you know, the title situation on SmackDown and all of that. So we'll see if we see Strowman again or not. And then finally in the main event, we had the Hurt Business taking on Retribution, along with the contracts that they apparently were given, that was announced in the beginning of the show. They are now going to be in action for the first time as well. So they're taking on the Hurt Business in a 6-man tag. And again, I wasn't sure what they were going to do here either. I was like, we're going to have to get another DQ or something, because the Hurt Business is so badass. I love the Hurt Business. I love that they do not care about Retribution. They will get right in their face. They've offered to protect Monday Night Raw. They've gotten in Raw Underground as well. So I just like the badassness of the Hurt Business. Even though they lose a lot of matches, I like the fact that they are just fearless and they'll just kick anybody's ass. I think they should add, you know, MVP is a great mouthpiece, so you don't necessarily need a mouthpiece, but maybe somebody in an advisor role, maybe like a JJ, although JJ did a lot of work on the mic, like a JJ Dillon, but bring Ron Simmons in as like a satellite member of the Hurt Business, just there to consult, because he knows how to kick ass, APA, plus he's just a bad ass dude to begin with. You know, but all the stuff he did with JBL, he knows how to bar fight. He loves to fight. And he could be like a Ric Flair, what Ric Flair was to Evolution, or what JJ was to the Horsemen. to where he's there to put his 2 cents in sometimes, to offer up his advice, to guide, that sort of thing. I think he might be a good, well, he'd look weird in a suit though, but just have him out there, just somebody that could add to the group. I don't know, just something I thought of. But anyway, the Hurt Business did win, but like we've seen on the show a lot tonight, they won via DQ. Lashley had the hockey mask kid in the full Nelson, and I didn't see what Dijakovic hit him with, but he came over and bopped him in the head with something. It was enough for the referee to call for the bell, so it must have been a foreign object. Referee calls for the bell. Everybody jumps in. Retribution jumps in. Big brawl ensues, and then more Retribution members come out, just like in the beginning of the show when they revealed the 5 core members, but at least 12 more, maybe 15 more, maybe even 20 more showed up. So I guess we're going to continue to get reveals little bits at a time. But they all came out again. They swarm and overwhelm the Hurt Business, and that's when McIntyre's music hits, and he leads an entire slew of locker room guys down to the ring to fight off Retribution. In the confusion, Randy Orton takes that opportunity to slither in and nail Drew McIntyre, and the show goes off the air with Orton kind of standing over Drew McIntyre's carcass, and that is your go-home Raw show for the Clash. And based on the ending of that, my gut is telling me that McIntyre will retain on Sunday. But like I said earlier, if they want to, it's a no disqualification match. If they want to have Retribution show up in that thing and just swarm Drew McIntyre and just chuck him in the ambulance and shut the door, it's not like it's a pin. It's not like a submission. If you are going to take the belt off of McIntyre even briefly, you could essentially, in theory, get away with it here, being the fact that it's an ambulance match. So if that's what they do, then I guess I would be all right with it. But the way it was set up tonight at the end of the show, I kind of feel like Drew McIntyre will win. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll run through the card here, do some early predictions and things like that. If you guys could do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button, since we have a very low audience in here right now, I'd appreciate some thumbs, big ups in the air. All right, let me get back over to my page here. Where am I? Where am I? All right. Yeah, but anyway, so like when you run that down, I don't think that Raw was the worst show of the year. I can't think of specific shows this year, but I know there were some that disgusted me far more than this one. This was just a little bit annoying because, so many non-finishes, and then, Retribution reveals themselves to be exactly who we thought they were anyway. The whole thing was just odd. So there's a lot of weirdness. And then the Mysterio angle and, the Seth Rollins stuff, and now Ray's daughter might not be his daughter, and they're rehashing that again. There was just a lot of stuff here that was just a little bit head-scratching, but maybe it'll all come together, as we move forward. But anyway, let's run through the Clash card. Here's what we got. We've got Apollo. This was announced tonight. Apollo Crews taking on Lashley, correct, for the U.S. title. That could be a kickoff match. Actually, I kind of hope it is. Also, Asuka taking on Zelena Vega. That was also made official as well for the Raw Women's title. We got the Tag Team Championships from Raw, also made official tonight. Street Profits defending against Andrade and Angel Garza. SmackDown tags are on the line. Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro taking on the Lucha House Party. Women's Tag Team titles are on the line. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on the Riot Squad. We've got the IC title up for grabs in a ladder match. This should be match of the night. Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn. Triple threat ladder match. That's going to be a hoot. Universal title, of course, Roman Reigns will be murdering Jey Uso. And for the WWE title, ambulance match, Drew McIntyre taking on Randy Orton. So let me give a flash, but without any thought at all. Let me go right down to the bottom. Apollo versus Lashley, I'm going Lashley. Asuka versus Zelena, I'm going Zelena. Profits against Andrade and Garza, I'm going Profits. Shinsuke and Nakamura retain as well over Luchas. I think Nia and Shayna will retain over the Riots. Yeah, we'll revisit that this week. Bayley definitely retaining over Nikki Cross. I think Sami Zayn is going to win the Intercontinental title in the ladder match. I think Roman is going to retain over Uso. And right now I'm going to say Drew over Randy Orton, but I might change that. So off the top of my head, I only see one title change, and there is like 9 title matches. So there's got to be more than that. I've got Sammy picking up the IC. Everybody else keeping their titles. Somebody's going to have to lose their titles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matches. 3 champions have to drop their belts out of those 9 matches, I think. But I only have 1 losing. So maybe I might go Andrade and Angel Garza then. If they can't make up their minds if they're friends or foes or not, and they've had several championship opportunities already, and why they're getting another one, I have no damn idea. So maybe that's because they're going to put the belts on them. So maybe Andrade and Garza win, because otherwise that's going to be a bad night for their crew. You know, if Zelena drops her match, or she better, when she drops her match to Asuka earlier on in the night, assuming it's earlier on in the night, maybe she can get a sense of a redemption if her boys win the tag titles. So maybe Andrade and Garza can walk away with gold. I think there's an outside chance that Ruby and Liv could as well. Get Nia Jax and Shayna broken up and put them back into singles. And there's a slight chance I think Orton could win the title due to the fact that it's an ambulance match. Drew doesn't have to be pinned or submit to lose the title. Retribution can get involved, and you can set up blow-off at Hell in the Cell on October 25th. That'll finally end the whole deal. McIntyre can win his title back. He's now a 2-time champion. Orton got his 14th run, even though it was only a month, and everybody wins. And they can have so many, you know, the Cell would work, especially if Retribution invades the ambulance match, costs Drew the match. They can put him in a cell just to keep Retribution out, kind of thing. Not that they can't bring a chainsaw and cut through the cage. They probably can. They can come out from under the ring. They're like cockroaches. So I don't even know if a cell would really protect them either, but I could see this stretching to a 3rd match. Otherwise, McIntyre is probably going to take on Keith Lee at Hell in the Cell, but that match should not be in the cell. That should just be a match. Cell needs to go to Sasha and Bayley, and either Orton and McIntyre or Rollins and Seth. Now that Rollins is starting to question Seth's kid's paternity, you know, you're pulling each other's eyeballs out, might as well put him in the cell. Might as well put him in the cell. And that's that. Okay, thank you for that, Victor Colon. So the kickoff match is Asuka and Vega. I didn't even notice that. Good. It needs to be. No, I didn't get your super chat. Thanks for the $2. Greg's sex appeal, though. Thanks, man. Yeah, Big J, I kind of thought they were going to split the Street Profits too, but I thought that was going to happen during the poisoning angle. I thought that that maybe Dawkins was behind it. I thought they might swerve us. You know who else I think is going to turn soon is Tucker. I feel like Tucker said something interesting on SmackDown when Otis was served the papers or the subpoena. And he's like, oh, we're in trouble. And Tucker's like, you're in trouble. He wanted nothing to do with it, which I thought was funny. And Tucker could probably have a case for that because Heavy Machinery, the tag team of Heavy Machinery, has taken a very big back seat to Otis and Mandy and Otis in the briefcase and Otis and Miz and shit like that. So, you know, it's almost like Otis has been preoccupied with other things other than the team. You know, he's been he's the standout of the team, and Tucker's kind of forgotten. And I can see Tucker getting fed up with that and turning on Otis. So doing the same thing with the Street Profits, I thought that would have happened, but I thought it was going to happen a few weeks back. And I said the reason for that, it was because I was like, you know, Vince McMahon is probably sitting back there and watching Montez execute these ridiculously, stupidly good frog splashes that are just mind-boggling to even watch. And he's probably like, God damn, we got to split them up and make that guy the babyface or whatever, make that guy the Shawn of the team or whatever. I thought that when they did the poisoning angle that it was going to lead to them going their own ways, because I feel like WWE might want to push Montez as a singles at some point because he's super charismatic and he's super athletic. And man, give me a Montez and Bianca mixed tag against a couple of guys. That would be fun as hell. So we'll see. But I think for the purposes of Clash, you know, I had him retaining, but, you know, you might want to put it on Andrade and Angel. I'm surprised they haven't won the titles already yet as it is. I mean, they've just been involved in the hunt for so long. I mean, how many title shots? It feels like every week on TV, they were involved in either a title match. Look it up. Help me. How many title matches have they had in the past, like, several months? Andrade and Angel Garza. A lot of them. They've also had a lot of number one contender matches back when the Viking Raiders were involved in all of that. Week after week. It was Andrade and Garza and the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, or some combination of that for the same amount of time that we have Apollo taking on Hurt Business guys every single fucking week. And so it's the same thing here with these teams. I'm like, God, can you not have them do anything else other than just this redundant nonsense? So maybe with them doing this one more time, this time they're going to win. And if they do, from there, you could maybe cause a rift with the Street Profits and have them move on. I don't know. I still think they might have a little bit of a shelf life, though, as a team. The only reason I thought they were going to break them up to begin with is because I thought WWE might be really impressed with the athletic ability of Montez, and they might feel like they can get a good run out of him in singles. I don't know. Oh yeah, Andrew, I've been saying that. Do I agree with you that Roman needs to beat Jay so badly that he won't see him for a while, like Brock Lesnar destroyed Cena at SummerSlam a few years ago? I think so. We talked about that on Saturday. I think when Roman inevitably destroys Jey Uso, and I've said it needs to be, I want it to be a squash, I want it to be brutal, and I want there to be a post-match beatdown. And if there's ever a time to break out some color, this is the time. Like, have Roman annihilate his cousin, and then when you do that, he can leave and wait for Jimmy to come back, because Jimmy's still injured, so this will be a good way to bring Jey Uso in initially and then just have Roman kill him, and he leaves, and he's gone until Jimmy is clear to come back. And then it would open up an interesting possibility with when they do come back. Obviously, you would think they're going to want to get revenge on their cousin and come back as a duo to attack him, or they might randomly join him. Remember a couple years ago when we talked about like Roman forming like a new Shield with the Usos? Oh, he should be a heel and have the Usos with him. They'd be badass. You know, maybe that's something that's coming, you know, maybe because they keep saying blood is thicker than water and all that shit. So if Roman just beats the shit out of them, or him, Jey Uso, and then he leaves, when Jimmy comes back, they can like do a run-in or something. Their music can play. Oh my God, it's the Usos. They're back. They come out at the end of a Roman Reigns match, but instead of attack him, they kind of hug him or they help him win a match or something like that. I think they could go in that direction. But I think this will be the end of Jey Uso on TV until Jimmy comes back. That's what I think. And Roman should really do a number on him. And I don't know what's going to be the main event here. I don't think it'll be that. It's probably going to be the ambulance match with McIntyre and Randy Orton. You would think it's got to be that. There's no other match that would really warrant it. Normally, I'd say the Universal title would be the main event, but not with an opponent like Jey Uso. So I think it'll probably be the ambulance match in the finale there, and which offers a little bit of possibility to Randy Orton actually winning the title. He can, if he does, he's going to have a lot of help from little tiny masked people, or hooded people, I should say. All right, anyway. All right, yeah, now just a so-so grouping in here for tonight's Raw review. Swear, we have our ups and downs on this channel. There's either 900 people in here or 124. Never makes any damn sense. Oh, hey, DS Demigod. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday, fellow. Is it still Virgo, or is Virgo done? If you're a Virgo, happy birthday, fellow Virgo. I was on the 6th. But it might be past Virgo time. What time do we do the clocks? We got to move the clocks back probably in the next month or so, right? Start getting dark at 5 o'clock. Don't you love that time of year? Well, there's nothing interesting going on there in the chat either, so I might cut this review short tonight, since it's a small audience and not much is happening. Go over here to the Twitters. Oh yeah, I forgot I put the poll up. I put a poll up on Twitter to vote which tag team you think was better. The original Hart Foundation with Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart, or Lana and Natalya. You can vote right now on my Twitter page at Good Mic Work. It's a tough decision. Should spark some interesting debates, but cast your vote on Twitter right now. Yeah, I think Sasha could get involved at Clash, but we talked about that exact thing, Reese Jones, and good to see you, by the way. Oh, it's Libra season. Thank you for that. We talked about that. Sasha could come out for the ultimate revenge and cost Bayley the title, but the way the storyline is going, the only person that's taken that belt off of Bayley is Sasha. It absolutely has to be her. And I think it should be her in the Hell in the Cell. I think that's where she should beat her. Hell in the Cell match, Sasha Bayley. Sasha beats her, gets the revenge, wins the title, and hopefully has a successful title defense after that so she can break that horrible streak. Hart Foundation was better. Yeah, better. How'd you get subbed to me? I went into your personal information and subbed to my channel. That's how. Your mom let me in. Damn, clock in November, and it's Libra season. Thanks for those updates, dudes. Neidhart and Owen was better, huh? Cool, yeah, just became Libra season. How interesting. All right, and there's no other real big wrestling news to get into that I saw today. I thought there was one thing I might want to talk about, but there's not. Nothing of interest, so nothing too earth-shattering. We'll see, but we've got a big weekend coming up, so I'll be up here Saturday. We'll talk about the Wednesday night shows. We'll talk about the Go Home SmackDown, which probably won't be much. Cool thing about Go Home shows is all they're doing is setting up the pay-per-view, so it's almost like a autopilot night. I can just kind of watch SmackDown. Nothing too interesting is probably going to happen on that. They're just going to set up a lot for the pay-per-view. We'll talk about wrestling news, and then we'll predict the entire Clash of Champions card. I'll give you my official predictions this Saturday, and then on Sunday, immediately after the show, I will be up here for a live review. And then right after the review is over, I'm shutting the computer down, unplugging the internet, breaking it all down. Movers come first thing the next morning, and I'm moving. So then after that, the new streaming setup will be in construction for a little while, but I'll still do my best to be up here, even if things look a little weird for the next couple of weeks. So just keep that in mind, but it shouldn't really affect the schedule aside from next week's Raw review. I won't be up here for a Raw review, obviously. So other than that, I shouldn't miss too much. Shouldn't miss too many shows or too many streams, I hope. But anyway, we talked about that, Victor. We talked about Melina coming back on Saturday. It was reported that she was coming back, and then she went on social media and said, no, I'm not. So you don't really know because, yeah, she's saying, no, I'm not signed, but, that kind of happens sometimes when it's leaked that somebody is going to return. What do? They go on social media and deny it. So Melina is not doing anything that anybody else has done, but she seemed pretty adamant and wrote a couple of full paragraphs, I believe, on Facebook explaining why she's not signed. But it could be chalked up to her just being pissed that it got leaked, and now she's trying to damage control or backpedal or something like that. So we'll see if she turns up. She could turn up anytime because at least when the initial report of her re-signing, they said that she could be appearing on TV like immediately. And last we saw her was on NWA Power, right? She was there working a little bit. And I mentioned on Saturday, nothing against Melina at all. But I still kind of have her in my mind as part of that diva generation. I think she was a little bit better than your typical divas, a little bit better than the Kelly Kellys and the Tori Wilsons and stuff like that. But she still came from that era that, just looking back as a wrestling fan, I don't have a whole lot of respect for that division back then, the divas. They had a couple of stars. Some girls could go, but for the most part, that whole division was a joke, and it was treated like a joke, and the women were just models and sexualized and all of that, and their in-ring work really wasn't taken that seriously all the time, aside from a few, the Molly Hollies, the Victorias, the Trishas, and women like that, and Lita. But for the rest of them, it's just a mess. And I always kind of put Melina in there. She was never really one of my favorites. And if they do bring her back, what is she going to do? Probably the same thing that like Mickie James is doing. Come in, get a couple of maybe high-profile matches, but in the end, not do a whole lot. And I have no idea what the personal situation is with her and John Morrison from back in the day when she was with him. And then I think she was doing the deed with Batista, and that situation was weird. Very similar to Candido and Tammy. Chris knew what she was doing and almost like tolerated it. And I think it was almost a similar situation with Morrison. So That whole situation is weird. Don't know if there's any still unresolved feelings there. If there is, they'll probably keep her on Raw, but that won't matter because it's all in the same building anyway. So, I don't know. We'll keep our eye on it, see what happens, and if she turns up. Maybe her and Mickie can be a team. Why not? You need tag teams. You just broke one up in the Iconics, and I thought you were starting one with Natalya and Lana, but it doesn't look like they are going to be doing any damage to anybody anytime soon. Lana is just going through tables for a living right now, and that's it. Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate the good luck thoughts. It's going to be great. I got my ducks in a row. I'm really, really good at moving because I've done it so many times, but I have been here a while, so there's a few extra things to do, but I'm excited. Boneless or traditional wings? Get out of here with that boneless stuff. Traditional, all the way. Boneless. What are you, 5? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I make really good, like, homemade, like, chicken tenders. I just, like, pound out a breast and I bread them, maybe in, like, panko and toss them in some buffalo sauce or something. They're really good. But I got to go with the full. I want the bones, man. Madeline, they're good. You guys can't see him, but he's right next to me. Bub is waiting to be fed. And they are going to shit their pants when we move next week because we are going into a pretty big house and they're going to have lots of room to move around and run around. And should be a fun adventure for the little bastards next week. I saw that, Deshaun. There's a handful of talents, I believe, right? Robert Roode and maybe some others are pretty much set to return anytime. I've been wondering what he's been doing and why they haven't been using him. I don't know why they haven't brought Robert Roode out, but apparently he's coming back. No, the cats are not packed yet. They're going to be the last thing to go. They'll be the last things in this place. Once everything is taken out in the truck, and then I'll load them in their little carriers, and I'll drive them over, where I'll have a little area ready for them, food, litter box, toys, shit that smells like me, that sort of thing. Lock them in a closet while we get all moved in, and ease them out into their new environment, because it's not good to change Cat's environment. Apparently, it kind of fucks with them a little bit, so I hate to do it to them, but in the long run, it's going to be better. It's going to be better for them. Yeah, and that's the thing about the women's tag team titles. I'd like to see more teams and not just slap together teams. Oh, you two are a team now. That's what they're doing with Nia and Shayna Baszler, and they're the champs. I'd rather see some more cohesive teams. There's no reason not to do that because you have so many women that just do nothing on the singles division on the roster. Even somebody like Naomi, who we all know, give Naomi a chance or whatever, or Naomi deserves better, and all those hash browns that are put up on the twatter. Puts her with someone, not Cameron. Don't bring her back, but stick Naomi with someone. Make them a team. They can come out there glowing with glowing shoes together and have a team name and dance their way down and win the titles or something. Just give them something to do instead of just putting women together randomly. But we got the Riot Squad back together now. I thought we had Lana and Natty, even though they're just a joke, and the Iconics are broken up. Sasha and Bayley are broken up. And that's really all you got. They have enough singles women's wrestlers there that they could make like at least 5 or 6 solid teams that are just teams, not broken up, not nothing. I mean, I know Nikki and Alexa were briefly a team, but even that didn't last. So there's definitely enough talent there to make it happen. There's definitely not enough talent there that you're not using that you could put in a tag team. I want to see Bianca Belair become champion, but like even somebody like her and Naomi, who are just super athletic together, they might make a fun team. They're kind of similar. Naomi's got the hair thing, Bianca's got the hair thing, and Naomi has got her glow. They'd be colorful, that's for sure. Oh yeah, I'm staying in Cali. I'm moving 10 minutes away. I'm not even moving far, right down the road. Yeah, it's not some major move. It's just I've run its course. This apartment that I've been in for the past few years has run its course. Yep, that's true. Next June, the anniversary of the pipe bomb. God, I cannot believe it's been that long. 2010 was 10 years ago. Nexus was 10 years ago. I cannot believe that. I moved to California 10 years ago. Actually, right around this time. As a matter of fact, that's so weird I said that. I don't remember the exact date, but it's either the 22nd or the 23rd is when I moved here in 2010 of September. So I've been here officially 10 years in like another day. Didn't even think about that till just now. It's been a great 10 years. I didn't even age. I feel 10 years younger. I feel the same age as I did when I got here. Where if I stayed on the East Coast, I'd probably feel old and tired and grumpy. Yeah, it's not good if you got to bounce your cats around. I know my cats will be happy because they are going to have some sweet setups. I've got piles of shit in my room right now from Amazon purchases that I bought. You know, all new cat climbing towers and scratching posts and toys and all this crap. They're going to have quite the nice life. All those little tunnels they can run through. They got every toy imaginable. They're spoiled. So they will be fine. Barry, you were 13 10 years ago. I was 33. Back in the good old days. Asuka and Kyrie were a tag team. Exactly. The Kabukis. Remember when Paige was with them? How random. Yeah, the loud motorcycles. Yeah, because I'm right on a street. Kind of a busy street. Not a terribly busy street, but busy during the day and stuff. And yeah, a lot of loud motorcycles go by, and that won't be an issue at the new place. Yeah, put some teams together with NXT girls too. I wouldn't want to see Rhea and Raquel together and redo that again, but Raquel and Dakota could win the tag belts as a Shawn and Diesel type of deal. Hey, Ram Venero, thank you very much for the $20. Very kind of you. Huge listener for years. Good mic work. I hope you're doing well during these times, man. I am doing very well. Thank you very much. It's been a rough 6 months since COVID and everything. It hasn't been easy and stuff, but I've been extremely, extremely lucky just with my job and the way COVID has affected my restaurant and stuff that I've been able to continue to work, continue to support myself, and I'm very, very fortunate. So it could have easily gone a different way for me, and I really lucked out. So I appreciate the kind words, and I hope you guys are still doing all right too. It's the COVID is not over, so we're still right in the thick of it here, and every day's a struggle, you know, for a lot of people. How Wheezy, appreciate the $2. Want me to get that Slick Pick sign for you. Slick Pick, I like that. Yeah, are you going to meet him? I would love to get my Slick Pick signed. Maybe I'll drop it in the mail to you. That's all I have left on the shelf because all my media, all my DVDs, all my tapes, 90% of the stuff here is all already in boxes. I just left like the title belts out and enough to kind of put back here to offer something for you guys to see visually. But yeah, after this is it. After this, it's all gone. That's all going to be taken down. And when you see me this weekend, for the Winged Eagle and for Clash review, just going to be me and some white and a white wall behind me. There's probably going to be an echo in here too. So I might want to look into trying to maybe hang a blanket on the wall or something to try to combat that a little bit. But we'll see. It'll be an interesting weekend. That's for sure. Hey, what's going on, new one? Oh, you're just getting here now? Well, I'm about to bounce out of here since we've gone through all the Raw results. We've talked about everything. Audience is somewhat low, so I'm going to be bailing out of here. But thanks for joining us, new one. And yes, they are still running the Ray and Seth storyline. Not only are they still running it, it took a whole different turn tonight when Seth revealed that Ray is not the father of his daughter, Aaliyah. So now we got to deal with more weeks of that nonsense, and we'll see. Yeah, we haven't heard from Triple H either lately. We don't need to. I mean, he's been visible in NXT a little bit. We saw him during the McAfee and Adam Cole stuff. But other than that, I don't need to have him on TV. Beetle, do I think I would still be watching if it wasn't for the podcast? Probably not. I would probably be watching it exactly the same way I did prior to starting. And that was I was eyeballing it. Probably get a good idea of what was happening at WrestleManias and things like that. But for the most part, you know, I just casually watch it. But, you know, the YouTube channel made me get back into it where I have to watch everything now. Lucky me, right? Marcus, thanks for the $2. Who should take the title off Moxley? God, at this point, I mean, Archer's getting the next shot. I don't know, man. I'd probably say somebody like Kenny or Hangman or something, but I don't think that's really in the cards right now either. Or MJF. MJF's going to get another shot. Could be MJF. I might just say MJF just for shits and gigs. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I got dinner to cook. I got work to do. I've got podcast stuff to prep, and I got videos to work on and all sorts of stuff tonight. So I'm going to get working on that. You guys take care. Thanks for a great night again. Thanks for being here. And I will catch you this Saturday for a Winged Eagle podcast and Clash of Champions predictions. You guys have a great week. Oh, and if anything crazy happens this week, like on Wednesday or something, and a big story breaks, I probably will be able to find a time to come up here and do a quick news brief live stream if needed. Otherwise, it's going to be a busy week for me. I'm working, I'm packing, I'm doing everything. So it's going to have to be Saturday most likely. So have a great week. Thanks for being here, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.